Welcome to Business Analysis Techniques. This is week 1 and I'm your online instructor, Diana Block. And we have a lot to look at this week, so I want to actually just get right into it. Before I get started, I will say that this course is very Excel intensive, and if you haven't had Excel before or don't know a lot about how to use Excel, then you'll want to stay in touch with me and make sure that you're watching the videos that I post every week, as well as additional videos in the resources area of your course each week, because there are articles and videos that will help you walk through this. And also stay in touch with me if you have any questions. Make sure you are emailing me or catching up with me on Blackboard IM, because this course is going to use a lot of Excel. So I want to look at some of the things we're going to do in week 1, and this is a copy of your assignment, sort of. It's a copy in that it has all the same problems. Don't try to use this one and just write the answers down exactly as I have them, because some of the numbers are different. So I want to be able to show you examples. So I have different numbers, but we're going to follow the same process. So when you complete it, you can follow the exact same process. You may not get the exact answers that are showing on my screen because I have some of my numbers changed. Okay, so let's look at problem 1, and we're going to show you in this course how to use the regression analysis tool that is in Excel. And this saves a lot of time doing regression and plotting data. Excel will crunch those numbers for you, but we need to be able to use that tool effectively. So later in the course, we're going to have a unit where we'll do this more. But right now in week 1, what we want is just to make sure that you have the data analysis tool pack installed and that you know where to find the regression tool. So this first problem is doing that. It's making sure you have the data analysis tool pack installed. And I can tell that I have it installed because when I go to my data tab, all the way to the right here, I have data analysis and solver in this analysis button group. If you don't see this group, this analysis group, or you don't see data analysis, or you don't see solver, that means you need to install those items. They both come free with Excel, but you do have to install them. So in the week 1 additional resources area, there are a couple of different videos and articles that will show you how to install these items into your solver. So if you don't see that, stop now and go look at those videos. It says installing solver and installing the data analysis tool pack. Now, if you do have those items, then you'll be able to complete this first little sample problem. And the instructions are here in the blue area. Go to data analysis, okay? Choose regression, input the X, Y ranges, and click OK. So you're going to read about this also, but I'm just going to run through it so you see what it looks like. I chose data analysis, I chose regression, I'm clicking OK. My Y input range, I'm entering. My X input range, I'm entering. Okay, and then all I have to do next, following the instructions, is click OK. And it creates this new sheet for you. And again, we're going to deal with this regression tool later, and we're going to talk about what each of these items actually means. But right now, the purpose of this problem was just to make sure that you have the tool installed. So we'll come back to that. Now, the second problem is another problem that's just here to make sure you have the right tools installed. With this one, you have to use solver. So again, you have to make sure you have this analysis section in your Excel and solver is installed. And if it isn't installed, make sure you view that video that's in the additional resources area so that you can install it. And so with this problem, again, you're just going to follow the directions exactly. Go to data solver, set objective box, put cell B16, make sure the max button is checked, and by changing variable cells, you see those instructions there. Okay, so I'm going to go to solver just so you can see what it looks like. Set objective box, that's this. So they want me to put B16 in there, and the max radio button is checked. And changing variable cells, they want me to click B12 in there. Then they want me to click solve, and then they want me to click OK. So on this problem, all you're doing is following these instructions in the blue. If you do not have Solver installed, you won't be able to do it. If you have Solver installed, you'll be able to go through that process just like I did. And later in the course, we'll talk about what this means and what you actually just did. So those two are just a test to make sure you have the proper tools installed. So starting with problem 3, we're actually looking at the material for Unit 1. So when we look at Unit 1, and again, some of the numbers on my examples are different, but the process is going to be the same. So I've written in English for you here, the profit is the difference between the total selling price and total variable cost minus fixed costs. So let's write that in Excel speak. So I have equals, because we're going to start the formula with equals. And so we want to get the total selling price and the total variable cost. So we've sold 500 units here. So we have to start with that. So that is in cell B6. So we're going to say B6 times the difference between the selling price and the variable cost. Close that parentheses, and then minus the fixed cost. So here I'm going to click on it, and you can see the formula up here in the function box that I use to get profit. So in this particular scenario, there's $2,500 profit, and I took the total number of sales times the difference between the fixed cost and the variable cost, and subtracted then the fixed cost. Let me make sure I said that right. Took the total number of sales, which was 500, times the difference between the selling price and the variable cost minus the fixed cost. That gives us profit. And so we're going to copy that formula over here as well. This is what the instructions in blue are telling you to do. And so we're going to put that same formula in, that B6 times the difference between B3 and B5 minus fixed cost, which is B4. Okay, so we've got two problems. They say the same thing. Now, when you look at these instructions, it tells us in the last part to use goal seek to determine how many units we must sell to have a profit of 10,000. So based on the number of 500 units sold, we had $2,500 profit. So we're trying to figure out how many do we need to sell to have $10,000 profit. And we can use goal seek to do that. Since we have this formula already in there, the formula already knows how all these items connect to each other. So to use goal seek, you'll go to the data tab, and it's here in this what if analysis. So under what if analysis, you go to goal seek. Now, goal seek is asking you some questions. Set cell. That means what are you trying to set? And what we're trying to do is set profit, which happens to be cell B or E6. We're trying to set profit to a specific amount. And what is that amount? 10,000. And so we're trying to do that by changing the number of units that we sell. Oh, let me make sure I got this right. Profit is in cell B7. That's where my profit formula is. We're trying to set cell B7 profit to $10,000. And we want to do that by changing the number of units that we sell. We're trying to find out how many units do we need to sell to make cell B7 come out to 10,000. And so we've got E7, we've got our set value, and what we want to change, the number of units sold. And it tells us that we need to sell 1,000 units to have a profit of $10,000 based on the information that we have here. And so we just click OK, and that's the end of that problem. So that's how the process that you will follow. Use this formula, enter it again here, then go to goal seek and put the appropriate settings in. And that's the end of that problem. It's showing you how to use goal seek. Now on problem 4, you're going to work with probabilities, and I put down here in English, probability is the unique number of occurrences of a specific result divided by the total number of occurrences of all results. So of course this sounds confusing, but here's what it's saying. The probability of getting an A is the amount of times that you get an A out of the total number of occurrences that you're evaluating, the total number of events. So all you have to do to get the probability is take the number of times, that number of students that got A's, divided by the total number of students. And so that's 27%. And then you can take the total number of students who got a B and divide that by the total number of students. So that's a 25% probability of getting a B. And you do the same thing, you just continue down, and the probability of getting a C is 30%, on and on. So at the end of this, as you complete it, then you'll have the probabilities of each of getting each letter grade. So that's your probability. Now, you can also take it a step further and use probability to determine an average. And so I put, again, some English instructions down here for you. Multiply each probability times the number of loaves sold for that probability, and then sum all the results for your final answer. So what I'm telling you to do is take the probability that you're going to sell 0 loaves times that 0 loaves. Here, you're going to do this in this column E. This is a preliminary step. So you'll do that for each one of these. And then in this cell, you're going to simply add up all of those probabilities, those probability average amounts. And there you have it. So that is all you will need to do there. Now in the next set of problems, they're a little different and we're running out of time. So I'm going to make another video to discuss the distribution problems. So these examples will help you with the first 5 problems, in addition to reading the chapter, watching the other videos, and going through all the PowerPoints. This video should help you get started on the first 5 problems, and then look for a second video where I'll show you how you can work problems 6, 7, and 8.